I'm sure you've witnessed in real life or movies things that are deeply not agreeable and against your values and disturbing to you, only to find out that later on you do similar things, and oftentimes to people you care about and love in your own life. And then you get unpleasantly surprised that what you don't like seeing in the world, you actually do something very similar in your own life. And then you have to sit with that and admit to yourself that you have a side of yourself that you are not fully embracing and accepting, maybe. So this was a conversation. By the way, this has happened to me more times than I can ever count, and I'm sure it'll continue happening. Why? Because I'm human just like you. But 2 days ago, I had a conversation with my closest, one of my closest people, and he was telling me how he was surprised in real life in ways that he didn't agree with. Basically, he was somebody was acting in a way that was very triggering to him, and then he did something that he doesn't like seeing in the world. And then he reflected on this and accepted it. He's quite evolved as far as his work and his self-improvement and his inner work. But I know this is happening to each one of us, especially to men. It happens to women as well, but men, we have the capacity for conflict and inflicting violence that's far more developed than women. And I'm sure, I don't know because I'm a man, so I cannot look through the perception of a woman, but I'm sure that most women get absolutely and maybe negatively amazed at what we men can do in the world. And I think this has evolutionary reasons. I mean, first and foremost, we are animals that evolved a frontal lobe that allowed us to begin metacognizing, in other words, reflecting upon our own being. But we still act as these primal beings that needed to survive and feed themselves. But now with our developed frontal lobes, we're taking things much farther. In fact, I was reading a book by Jordan Peterson, 7 years ago, one of his older books. And in the beginning of the book, I remember he was saying that one of the biggest things for us humans is to accept that we are capable of violence, destruction, darkness, and that we're the only species that can inflict suffering upon another species without the need to eat, sustain itself, or survive, but purely to inflict suffering. And that's hard to sit with. What I want to reflect on here is that this isn't something we want to have or don't want to have. This is something we have. It's a part of us. It's a part of human nature. I don't know why. My suspicion is that nature or God, as it is probably evolving, it wants and needs to look at itself through an infinite number of separate perspectives, which each one of us is. Just on this planet, we have billions of them only in the human form, not to mention all the other animal forms. But if everything is infinite, then there are infinite perspectives through which creation is looking at itself and probably learning more about itself and perhaps evolving. This is what I am currently thinking is happening. But the point is this: we are capable of almost infinite love, but we're also capable of violence, destruction, conflict, and inflicting suffering upon others and ourselves. And why did I say ourselves? Well, exactly because what I'm just saying, which is many of us, or at least those of us who are ready to reflect upon our actions in the world, will have to grapple with the fact that we have these dark sides of us. And Carl Gustav Jung called these dark sides our shadow. These are the parts of us that we consciously or unconsciously are repressing. We don't want these parts of us. But the only path forward is to accept these parts, which means to accept that we're capable of conflict, violence, evil, and inflicting suffering upon others and upon ourselves. And if we don't accept that, then we're basically inflicting more suffering upon ourselves, which is we're staying in the same loop. I personally believe that one of the biggest reasons, let me change that. The one of the main needs for us to be alive is, at least in this dimension, in this game, is to learn to accept ourselves fully. All sides, including the sides and parts we don't even want to look at, and admit that they exist inside of us. So with this friend, I gave him the example of light. Do you know that white light is actually all the other colors of light combined? So when you combine red, green, and blue, and everything in the spectrum, you get white light. That's why when you shine white light at a glass prism, on the other side you get the rainbow. That's what rainbow is. It's white light shown to you in the form of the gamut of colors, because it's reflected by the vapor in the air. So basically you're seeing dispersed white light. And this is a beautiful metaphor, I think, for what we are and what we're invited to be aware of and evolve into, as far as fully accepting. We are like the white light, which combines all the other lights, the blue, the green, the red. And sometimes we don't like the shades of red or the shades of blue or the shades of green. Nonetheless, all of them are a part of the white light. And so that is nature. And we are nature. And nature is experimenting with itself. So there must be a reason why we have all these colors inside of us. And just like infinite love, I believe, we get to integrate ourselves into that, because infinite love is all inclusive. That's why it's infinite, right? We don't even know what name fits better or best, but infinite love is, I think, what most people agree on. But if I had to try with this human symbolic way of communicating, which is so damn inefficient, but that's the best we have, the best tool we have, is maybe pristine, all accepting tranquility, okayness, completeness. I don't know. I can keep trying, but I'm not even getting close. But that is what infinite love is, right? It is all inclusive. What was the saying? Bashar, this channel being, it was saying, creation loves you so much that it even loves you in your decision to inflict suffering upon yourself. And of course, it doesn't mean the decision to inflict suffering. Suffering sometimes happens, oftentimes happens. It's a part of life. But many of us self-inflict suffering. This is one of them. The inability to sit with our darker sides, the inability to include them and to become whole. And I'm listening to myself, I'm using these words, and I sound so damn spiritual and stuff, but that's the best I can do right now. I know I have these dark sides in me. I see them more often than I want to admit. And it's very striking, especially for people who do a lot of inner work and self-development and self-improvement, whatever that means. And then we get surprised in a way where we go, damn it, I thought I'd worked through this. And then I'm all the way back into where I was years ago. And then it's this cycle, right? But that's, I'm coming to believe that this is a part of the whole game. You know, they say it's very easy to be enlightened on the top of the Himalayas, but you know, let me send you to New York for a few weeks and see how you do there, right? All of it is a part of our experience. And so I was talking to this friend that we are here to become okay and maybe even learn to love our full nature. And look, that's going to be even more important in the very near future. And what I'm alluding to is, unless you're living in a hole somewhere, you know that we're going through a major transition now. It's already started. The transition that this new technology, AI, robotics, the discoveries, the steep curve of progress that we're making in all fronts of science and life, longevity, everywhere. I mean, we are deep into it already, but many strong voices in this field, although they disagree among each other among many topics, at least they agree on this one, which gives me confidence that this is exactly what we're going to experience, is that the next 5, 7, maybe even 10 years will be quite rough for many of us. And I don't have to even go by what they say, but I see it in the startup that I am involved with. Actually, I'm involved in 2 startups. It's a game of survival right now, of staying relevant in these rapidly changing times. But anyways, the point I want to make is this. After 5, 7, maybe 10 years, if we make it, if we don't mess it up in a major way, which chances are very good we might, but I remain optimist. If and when we make it, we're going to live in what all of these people agree is going to be a post-labor work, where work will be optional. It will be a part of our expression, how we express ourselves in the world through our creativity and taste and art, how we connect with other human beings. But most importantly, our personal philosophy. We will have all the time to contemplate, to look into who we truly are, when labor, when career and what we do no longer defines us. When all of this goes away, then the question becomes even more relevant. Who am I? What am I doing here? And when we get to ask this question, we get to also look into that closet of things on the inside of us that we usually are avoiding, or many of us are avoiding. And this closet has some dark corners, right? And so this is what I'm talking about. The game has already started. And many of us, just by way of being alive, have been invited to evolve in many ways, one of which, I think one of the major ways, is to learn to accept our human nature as we're just what we are, messy humans. But this will be definitely augmented and emphasized 5, 7, 10 years from now, when we will have a lot more time to contemplate, think, and involve ourselves in our personal and collective metaphysics. And yes, there will be always ways to distract yourself, ourselves, and run away from having to look into our nature. And there are billions of these ways right now. There will be even more later. I mean, maybe within a year, with just one single prompt, you'll be able to generate a full-length feature movie for yourself on demand. It will be generated for you as you watch the movie. And so, yes, if you want to escape having to look deep inside and face all your parts, you will be able to. And many people will choose to do just that. I don't think I'll be one of them. But I also think you're not going to be one of them either, because if you're still here, that's already telling. So anyways, I think I've rambled for longer than I anticipated, but that's what happens when things are unplanned. I don't have a neat ending to this, but let me say, looking into all the shades of red, all the shades of green, all the shades of blue is the path. Embracing all of these shades seems to be the path. Resisting that is perpetuating the self-suffering. There is, I believe, no right or wrong way of doing things. Each one has their own, karma or path or whatever curriculum we have to go through, I believe. So there's no way for none of us to mess it up. Any way we do it is perfectly fine, and I believe a part of the individual curriculum of each one of us. So yeah, I guess we're white lights if we can accept all of the shades that are a part of us already. That's it. I'm out.